know what the experts are telling you.
Okay, I'm going to show you how to build an HTML5 website in just a few steps, and it's really easy. You don't have to have a whole lot of experience. You could either follow along with this video, or you could just read the article at the website developmentaldad.com. Depends on where you found this. If you found this on the website, then it's probably easier just to read along. If you found this on YouTube, watch the video, or you could go back to the website. Either way, I encourage you to go back to the website because you could always find better stuff. And plus, this is going to be a series, so you might want to have that as a resource to go back to later on. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started. Since this is the first tutorial, I really want to talk about what it is in a website that makes it go. And that's really the first thing, or the only thing that you need in a website is an index file. Index.html in this case is what we're going to have. And that's just basically your the main file that when your computer comes to the internet and comes to that specific domain, it reads that first file, and that file tells it what to do from there. And so if you, in this example, we're just going to have one page website, and it's going to be really simple, and so that's all we need is just something very simple. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the website that we're going to be building. And here it is here, and as you can see, it's basically just an image with some text right here. Something very simple. It's something perfect for a business if you want to have like your business card, or maybe take up the whole screen with your logo and a background and some more business information. Later on in this series, I'm going to show you how to add menus, add several more pages, so that you can do more with them. In this video, it's just basically just getting started and figuring out what HTML5 is and how it works, and understanding how to build that website and put it all together. So to get started, let's take a look at what we have here in the website, and you can see that there's two different sections of code. There's what's up here is the index.html. That's what I've been telling you about. And then you can see down here there's a style.css, and this is what gives the design to what you're going to have on your website. So the index.html tells you what's going to be there. At least in this case it does. It tells us what's going to be on the website, and then the style.css tells us how it's going to look. So let's go ahead and look at this. I'll explain it as we go, and it'll make sense as we go. Okay, you can see how this is broken up here. It's all built inside of these HTML tags. You have the opening tag up here and the closing tag down here. And everything is built that way. It has an opening tag and a closing tag. The head has that opening here and a closing here. The body has an opening here and a closing here. And so you could basically understand an HTML document or a website document designed in that way to where it's logical and it makes sense. It doesn't really take a genius to figure out how to do this, and sometimes we can be intimidated by it because we see this coding that doesn't make sense, but most of it's logical and it's built in a way where it should make sense. And so we start off with the head up here, and then we have a body, and a lot of times we'll have a footer, and that's the way the website will lay out. It'll lay out the head up top, the body, and then the footer. So it really makes sense if you think about it that way. I'm not going to go over what everything here means. You'll see it more and more, and then you'll become familiar with it, and you'll understand what it means as we go along. If you want to know more about what all this specifically means, just keep watching the videos or go look it up now. You know, that's the best way to learn, actually, is to keep doing your own research. So I say, you know, go ahead and do that. Okay. A couple things I do want to point out here, though. So we notice over here in the website that we're building, we have an image here and we have some text. Now let's look over here and see how that's laid out in our index file. In HTML5, we could use this image tag, and it shows we could tell it where to get the image from, where we have it stored, and then we give it a name in case it doesn't show up. In some cases where it might be broken, you want to give it a name. We'll go over that in some other video. But then we have a figure caption, and this is the caption to the image, and this is new to HTML5, and it makes things very simple to where you could just put a caption on any image. And so that's what we have here. This is my first HTML5 website. And then you can look over here. This is my first HTML5 website. And so it's really that simple. Now, the way this looks, though, is given by this style.css. And so we see HTML, this whole document, which is HTML, has a background with this image. And so if you notice back here, this gray, it's not just a gray color, it actually has a little design to it that you can barely see. It gives it a little look to it that's not so plain, and so it's just a repeating square block that's very tiny that repeats over and over to the left and over down. And so that's what this background is. And then you have some other styling here. The image has a width of 300 pixels. Pixels are the dimensions that you'll use when you're measuring. At least that's the most common here in the United States. Okay, so that's the style.css. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started on building this. I'll show you how to put all this together. Now you just see what the code is, but how do you put this code together? How do you tell the internet to find this, and how do you store it, and where do you put it? So let's go ahead and get started on that. The first thing I normally do when I'm building a website is I'll create a new folder for it. And so in this case we'll create a new folder called my website. And you could create a folder in Windows by right clicking on the desktop. In Mac you want to hit control click. I'm not a Mac user, so I don't really know if there's other shortcuts or whatever. But now we have our folder here on our desktop, and that's where we want to work from. It's called our workspace, and it's where we're going to put all of our files as we're building up our website. Okay. It's also going to be the root folder of the website. When you put a website in your hosting account, you're going to have a root folder, and so this is going to be our makeshift root folder here on our desktop. Okay. So the next thing we need to do is we need to put it into a file. Put our code into a file, and we're going to put it in there. Create our index.html file. And so what I'm going to do is open up a notepad. You might have to search it down here in your Windows search bar. I'm going to open mine up. And then the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save it, and I'm going to name it. So file, save as index.html. And I'm going to choose the location that I just created, which is on my desktop and my website. And I'm going to create index.html right there in that folder. Okay, and now let's move this out the way. We can see in our folder that there's now there's a file there, index, and it's an HTML file. Okay, so let's go ahead and close that out. Now what we want to do is we want to take this code that we have over here on the website, and you could just click right here in the very beginning and then drag it to the end, and Control C to copy it, or you could right click and hit copy, and then bring it over here to your file, to index file, and hit paste. And I right clicked to get that, or control click and back. And now we have all of our HTML code, the HTML body, the HTML head, everything right here in our index.html. Okay. Later on, I point that out because you could actually break that up in a bunch of different files, and that's we're going to see that later on as we build the website up. Right now, everything's all just in our index file, and so go ahead and you could hit save. Sometimes you can just hit X out and save, but I'm gonna, just to be safe, let's go over here, file, save, and then X. Okay, now we have let's go over to our desktop and take a look at what we have here. Okay, so now we have our index file in our main website folder. We could actually right click on this and then open with, and we could choose a browser that we have installed. I'm going to open up in Google Chrome. So what happened is we have a broken image that's not showing up, but we have the text here. And the reason for that is when you come over here, let me go ahead and actually, let me go over here and close that one out. Close out this Adobe stuff accidentally. Close, Yes. Okay, good. Alright, okay, let's go back over to this index.html and we'll open it up. Now, you see how we have the text here? That's what's showing. Now, it wants to show this image, but it can't show this image because it's saying, where the heck is it? Well, the source says where the image is at. So the source right here is where the image is stored. Now, when you don't have anything in before here, that means it's going to be right here in the root of the file. But you could also put, which we're going to do in this case, images/bg.png. And then go ahead and close that out and save it. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna have to download the files from the website over here that has the images. So let's go ahead and do that. Come up here and it says to get the complete project files, click here. Go ahead and do that. And then when it's done downloading, I'm gonna open it up. Mine says 1 because I've already downloaded it. Oh, maybe it downloaded it twice. Let's just open up this one. Okay, open it up. And what I want to do is grab this images. So let me right click, copy, and I'm taking this out of what I just downloaded, out of the example file I just downloaded. So I copied it to my clipboard, and now let me open up my website folder and paste that. So now in my image folder I have my bg.png and I have example1.png. So now let's open this up and see what happens. Open with, we'll choose Google Chrome again. Whoa, look at that, thing's huge. It took up the whole screen. So we still have our text there, but we don't have our background, it's still white. So the reason for that is because we don't have our style.css. Let's go ahead and close this back out. Over here we have style.css, and as I said, this is what gives it its style and what it looks like. And so remember, it tells us, for one, that the background is going to be 300 pixels. Well, that's not 300 pixels, that's more like 1200 pixels. Okay, or even more than that, probably 1600 pixels, or whatever that image size is, the full size of it. But it also tells us that there's a background image, and that should also be in the images folder. And we remember seeing that there was an example1 background.png. Remember that over here. When we go to our website folder, images, there it goes right there. So what we need to do is now we need to create our style.css. That's where that's going to go. So what we do is, again, we open up Notepad however we had it. Again, file, save. We're going to call it. We're going to name it something. It's right here. We're going to call it style style.css and hit save. And if you go over here to your file, look, now you have a style, and it's called a cascading style sheet document. Style.css. Okay, so then we come back over here to the website and we grab this code, style.css, drag it all the way down. Same thing, copy it, bring it over here, paste it, file, save, close. Now let's come back over here to our file. We have our website folder, we have an index, a style, and images with our image folders. Now let's open up this index again, right click, open with, choose Google Chrome, or whatever your browser you want to use, and now look at it's done. It's got the gray background that's there repeating itself. You see you got the image that's resized and it's smaller, and you have your text right here. Okay, that's really simple, and you see how the style sheet, where when we added that, it resized everything and made it look good. So let's go look real quick, because I didn't show you how they link together. Let's go back in here and open up our index file, and look, we have a link right here, and it says that it tells us what it is. It's a style sheet, and it tells us what it's called and where it's at, the reference, or where is it at, and it's called style.css. Now, remember how I showed you how the images is in the image folder, and so you would address it that way? Well, you could do the same thing with this. I could change this style.css. I could put it in CS folder, style.css. And then I could create a new folder over here, and we'll call it CSS. Drag that file into there, and now we have it in there in Internet Explorer. So it worked in the browsers. So anyways, that's how you build your first HTML website, HTML5 website. Follow along and I'll be showing you a lot more. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Make sure you subscribe to all my channels and do everything else that it says to do all around me. Thank you.
You know what the experts are telling you?